Nice to meet you, Jeanette. How old are you?
I'm 36 years old. I'll be 37 in May.
Do you have anything planned for that day?
No, unfortunately, down here it's probably just going to be another day.
On a regular birthday, what would you have done?
Usually, I would have been like at a Phillies game because the weather's nice, or with my family. But you know, with addiction, those things get put on hold.
Yeah, addiction definitely rob you of everything. Where are you from originally?
Believe it or not, I grew up down here. I grew up a couple blocks away from. I grew up on a small street called Pickwick Street, over by Frankfurt and Castor.
Has it always been like this?
It was not always like this, no.
What was it like when you was growing up out here?
When I was here, we actually had like a sense of community, you know. My mom was a single mom, so, you know, she could leave us on the block and, you know, the neighbors watched us for a little bit. You know, you better help, you know, you better behave before the neighbor got you, you know, because you're getting your butt beat by the neighbor and your mom, you know. But nowadays there's no sense of community, camaraderie, or anything like that. You know, everyone just turns a blind cheek. I grew up in a single family home, but you know, my stepdad was an alcoholic, so you know, at a very young age, I guess I was taught, you know, I had a weird picture of a relationship and what love was supposed to be, and you know, that definitely paves for my relationships. I ended up in an abusive relationship myself, and I definitely think that that was a product of watching my mom, you know, deal with my brother's dad and, you know, keeping secrets and, you know, the abuse and stuff like that. My mom was a great mom. You know, she raised me good. I just did bad all by myself. You know, it has nothing to do with that. You can live here and not be a product of your environment for sure. I just, you know, fell into that, you know, that category.
Got you. What happened to your dad?
So I don't know my real dad, but in November I lost my mom, and then 6 months later I buried my stepdad too. So we had a lot of, you know, tragic, like, you know, trauma and stuff that I didn't address, and so it was, you know, a lot of things, a lot of resentment, a lot of you know, unanswered questions and things like that.
I'm sorry. How far did you go in school?
I actually have a college education.
Awesome. What field?
I'm a medical assistant by trade, certified phlebotomist. That's what people don't know about people down here. You know, we're not just what you see. There's more to us. You know, I've sat with lawyers and doctors. You know, everyone has a different, it's the same story, different face.
Do you have any favorite childhood memories?
I do. I think it was growing up in a close-knit Italian family. You know, like all of us being together all the time for every occasion, and you know, after my mom passed away, we just lost all that. You know, I lost my safety net, you know, home and things like that, and I think ever since then I've been looking for something that doesn't exist anymore.
Do you have children, kids?
I do. I have 2 kids.
Who custody are they in?
I still have custody of my kids, but I asked for help, so they're in the care of their fathers right now. Okay.
What do you miss most about being a mother?
Pretty much everything. You know, I went from being a full-time mom with my kids 24/7 to literally having nobody and nothing. But yeah, I just miss everything. Just seeing them, honestly.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, right? So we're out here in Kensington, the Black Hole. What was your first drug experience?
It was with Percocet. With my daughter's dad, you know, we were like weekend warriors, and you know, I started, you know, getting high off that, and then that became too much to afford, and after I lost my mom, I just dove deep into like the heroin world and things like that, you know.
So currently, what drugs are you struggling with?
Currently, I do heroin, and I smoke crack cocaine.
Now, what's a day in Kensington look like for you, a day in your life?
A day in my life, pretty much, you know, I wake up, I gotta see, you know, if, depending on what it is, I have to make money, and, you know, I do that by doing dates and stuff like that, and that in its own has its own, you know, risks and stuff like that. So, basically, a day in my life is getting dates and just maintaining my habit, which is literally a full-time job. It's a full-time, it stopped being fun a long time ago. It's literally like a full-time job.
And with doing dates, that's very dangerous. I have heard so many horror stories from the ladies down here. Have anyone done anything bad to you while doing that?
Yeah, just the other day, you know, I had a date pull out a gun and take the money back.
Man.
In a stolen car at that. I mean, every day. Just last weekend I had to escape someone's house, and I really thought that was going to be the time that, you know, I was going to be like chained in a basement. You know, it's scary. It's really scary.
And there's a lot of girls, women who are missing. I don't see anymore. Do you notice that the women around here, you don't see them anymore?
Yeah, for sure. This is a place where people think, like the lost souls, you know, people think people don't care about them. So it's very easy and it's very common to see someone today, not tomorrow, you know. So there's a lot of people, and there's a huge decrease in the amount of girls that work and stuff like that. It's kind of scary.
It is. How easy is it to get drugs out here?
You could literally walk off this porch and get them right now. It's extremely accessible. I think Kensington is like the only open air, it's like an open air drug market. You know, it's normal. It's everyday life. You know, you can't walk down the street without hearing someone call out some kind of drug, some kind of something. It's just there. It's always there.
Yeah. Have you lived elsewhere besides Kensington?
I spent a little bit of time in Maryland, stuff like that, but nothing compares to here.
What's the biggest difference between Maryland and Kensington?
In Maryland, well, of course there's drugs. There's drugs everywhere, but it's more like a secret. You know, it's like a kept secret. I mean, not to say that's not just as bad there, but you know, it's not as open. It's not, their homeless problem is not as much as we have. You know, there's not needles everywhere, stuff like that. They're more, I guess, like in the closet addicts, you know, whereas though here it's just every corner, everywhere, you know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's hard for a person that's in recovery to stay clean in this environment.
It's very,
all it takes is that one bad day, right?
Not even that. I mean, they call samples, and you don't even need money now. You know, now you're right back in that line getting that sample, and next thing you know, you're right back into your dope addiction. You know, it's sometimes I feel like it's a controlled environment. You know, it's scary. There's haircuts, there's food, there's free drugs. Why would anyone want to get clean? You know.
Tell people what are samples. For those who don't know what sample mean, what is samples?
So samples are mostly like early in the morning blocks that are putting out new stamps for, you know, heroin and stuff like that. They give out samples, and it's usually like the best of the drugs, because they want you hooked and they want you to come back to their block. And that happens 3-4 times a day. I mean, you can literally have no money and probably leave with a bundle of dope, you know. So there's people out here that don't ever hustle, you know, and they control their drug addiction by samples alone. And that alone is a crazy concept, you know. Like, not only is it an open air drug market, but they're giving you drugs for free.
And the samples are dangerous because you don't know what they're putting in it. Do you think fentanyl is mixed with everything out here?
Yeah, I think fentanyl is in everything down to the weed. I mean, even crack, cocaine. You know, people are smoking crack cocaine and they're falling asleep. They're nodding out. I think blocks think that's the way to get people hooked. You know, it's not even a good product anymore. It's just like, if we can get them. Oh, I need this. I feel like this when I have this. You know. So I think that's what it is. I think there's fentanyl, even in down to the weed. I think there's fentanyl in everything.
Right. Are you concerned with what you're putting in your body?
No, I'm not. I mean, I sample chase, you know, and you're literally being a guinea pig for somebody. And these are not people that are scientists, you know. These are corner dope boys, and you know, they don't care. I mean, they're putting meat tenderizer, anything in there to stretch their money, and you know, it's all about $1. That's all it is. And they don't see us as people. They see us as like lab rats.
How bad is it out here?
It's bad. It's really bad. This new trank and stuff like that, it's a whole new wave, you know. It's eating people's flesh. I mean, I've never seen it this bad down here as far as that way, you know. The trank is just a whole new demon.
Yeah, it definitely is. Do you see people die out here often?
Yeah, we just actually this morning we passed the house and there was a dead body in there from an overdose, and nobody knew, you know, just another addict, just another junkie in their eyes, you know. They don't, but it's common. We've Narcan people that we can't bring back, and you just get numb to it. It's really sad, but you just get used to it.
So you do carry Narcan with you?
All the time, yeah.
And how much do you use in a day, drug-wise? do you say?
My habit is close to almost $200 a day.
Damn, that's expensive.
Very expensive.
And the crack monster takes everything. You know, the crack monster is no
that's
joke.
that's a whole new beast in its own, you know. I wasn't always like smoking crack, and I wish that in a year, I've gotten high on opiates for 10 years. I never lost anything as fast as I did when I picked up that stem. Like in a year, I lost everything: my kids, my house, my cars, clothes, everything, in just a year. And I saw it all happening, but you can't stop. You just can't stop. It doesn't, you know, you're in love with something first, and that's definitely the drugs.
What are some hustles that people have out here to make money?
I mean, people hustle everything from works, which are needles. They hustle. Girls do dates. I see people scrapping metal. Honestly, anything. Looking out on corners to, you know, for the call for the cops. There's money everywhere. People hustle people, you know, anything, a quick come up, you know, overpricing drugs for kids that are out of the county and stuff like that. That's, you know, there's a hustle everywhere, honestly.
Right. What's your living status? Where do you live?
I'm currently homeless. I for fear, you know, I don't want to go to the shelter I'm afraid to be too far from the drugs, or have to be in at a certain time and not make enough money to go in for the night, things like that. There are resources, and I can say for myself, like, I choose to be out here. You know, I definitely do. That's a choice. Like I said, whether it's the time restraint or everything that plays into my head. But mainly, I'm afraid to go too far from the drugs.
Have you been able to beat your addiction?
I just had a year clean last year, week before Thanksgiving. This has been my longest like straight run for a year. But I was on methadone, and that had its own, you know, issues too, you know. So, but I'll get it back. I'm just not ready at the time, you know, and I don't want to waste any resources right now.
Do you get help from the government?
I get food stamps and stuff like that, but like you said, so I was clean, but then I was still homeless. So it was like, well, what do I do now? You know, so you're down here, and you can only tolerate this for so long without getting high yourself, you know. It's just even dealing with the things, or, you know, it became way too much, and I relapsed again.
Yeah, I hear you did. It's not easy, you know. Crack and trank. What's the biggest difference between those two drugs?
Well, before, like, you could take a hit and, you know, you would speed or be awake, and now that you can tell, like, I have people tell me, like, they hit their you know, to go to sleep. They smoke crack to go to sleep, and that's literally, like, the biggest oxymoron I've ever heard in my whole entire life. So, that's the biggest difference. Like, now you're not a nail, and it's just easier to be robbed and everything, you know. It's just a whole different ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so if your friends or your family see this video, what message would you like to send to them?
I'm okay, and I love them.
All right. What are some of the jobs you had in your past?
Pretty much, I've been a medical assistant almost my whole life since I was 20 years old. I never had a problem holding a job until oddly enough, it's kind of sad, but when the drugs switched over from like brown dope to, you know, this fentanyl, and I couldn't stay well long enough, you know, my addiction just took over. I used to think I was like a functioning addict, you know, but then I had more days that I was an addict than I was functioning. And, you know, sick days, and I took too many, you know, more sick days became more relevant. You know, I was not the employee that I should have been. So, you know, my addiction literally took over my whole entire life. It comes before everything, your job, your kids, everything. It's the first thing, that's it. It's the only thing you're worried about.
Okay, if you had one wish, what would you wish for?
To have my mom back.
When you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see?
I don't know anymore. I see like a shell of a person I used to be. This is not life, you know, it's just surviving.
If you had to pick to fly or be invisible, which one would you pick?
Be invisible.
Why?
I already feel like I am.
Okay, dear, thank you so much for being courageous. I really appreciate you opening up and being brave. Remember, your story is going to help inspire somebody else. And what you have done is making a difference in the world, and that's very impactful, you know?
Yeah.
So I wish you all the best. Stay strong. Don't give up on yourself. And we'll be rooting for you, all right?
All right, thank you.
If people want to reach out to you, do you have an email?
I don't. I pretty much stay low key. It's kind of how I like it.
If people want to send stuff for you, like clothes, do you have a way they can send it?
Not particularly, unless they go through you, I guess, or the site or whatever.
All right. What are some things that you're in need of?
I desperately need some clothes, and like I told you, I like to color and stuff like that. They keep stealing my stuff, so I replace it all the time. That's just what keeps me out of my head.
What do you like? You sleep like on in the streets, on the ground? That's where you sleep?
A tent, some places like that, yeah.
Sleep in the tent. All right. Well, hopefully your situation can turn around for the better soon. Right there,
Yep.
You're still alive, so there's hope.
There is, yep.
AML fan, we clocking out. Remember, don't be bitter, be better. Till next time, we out there. Peace out.